Okay, we've got a couple more coming in, so I'll just give it a second and I reckon kick off.
Cool. All right. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we might kick off. Just for those that have just arrived, just to let you know that the session is recorded, and you can turn your camera off if you don't want to be seen. That's totally okay, and we just use this recording for others that are interested but can't join the sessions. We've prepared a couple of slides to go through, and a couple of us will talk to those, but we'll spend some time at the end of the session to cover off any questions. However, as we kind of go through the slides, if you do have any questions, feel free to jump off mute, or you can use the chat function down the bottom and Claire will stop either Peter or myself, and we can answer those questions as we go as well. So I will share my screen. Hopefully everyone can see that.
Yep.
Cool, and I'll just move so I can see you guys a little bit. So welcome to our harvest information session. So I thought maybe if you're all comfortable, just to kind of come off mute and just introduce yourself, your name, your business, and where you're calling in from. And Claire, can I just ask you to, because I can't see everyone, can you just kind of nominate people, or if someone wants to nominate themselves, either way?
Anybody happy to go first? Dave, how about you?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, Dave Setchell, Black Sheep Produce, and I'm in Loxton in the Riverland in South Australia.
Great, thank you.
Phil.
Yeah, hi. Phil Talbot, Authentium, in Melbourne, Australia. Yeah, obviously, I was going to say Australia and Melbourne. I think I have a lot of international calls, so I throw Australia on the end. So sorry about that.
All good.
We've lost Vajesh. Anne.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Vajesh.
Hi, yeah, so I'm Vijesh, so you can see me, right?
Yes.
So I'm from Sydney and I'm from Connect One Club. Yeah, so that is our background, and we are mainly a collaboration platform for farmers.
Welcome.
Great.
Anne.
Hi, my name's Anne. We are macadamia farmers in northern New South Wales, and as a sideline business or extra business, we have a skincare range that is based around cold pressed macadamia oil.
Great, welcome. Kate.
So I'm here with Tony Matchett. We are converting 15 years of crop research in Northern Australia into a new food business. So we're giving farmers access to elite seed genetics and also manufacturing products from those output crops.
Welcome. Who else we've got? I missed anybody? Jeffrey.
How do you do? Jeff Quinn is my name. My business is Many Busy Hands, and I deal with a fractured, casual, seasonal labour market across Australia, where, as you know, there's a lot of issues such as wage theft, sexual importuning, and the lack of supply of workers. So what I'm trying to do is address all of those issues.
Great, thanks, Jeffrey.
And Lisa.
Yeah, is it Claire?
Yes, it is.
Oh, how you going, Claire? And hello, everyone. Lisa McFadgen. So I'm actually with New South Wales DPI. Claire reached out to us. I'm part of the Farm Business Resilience Program. So I guess we have lots of touch points within the industry with producers. Our main focus at the moment is more not necessarily the production side, but the business side, but it all interrelates. So just happy to be here. Just to learn where everyone's up to, but I guess my background to farming connections, we we do farming ourselves. We're mixed farmers, but I've also got that ag tech background too. So I'll be interested to see where everyone is at anyway. So thanks, Claire.
No worries. Thanks for coming.
Claire, I'm sorry that I didn't mention that I'm part of the University of New England Smart Regions Incubator based in Tamworth.
Cool, thanks, Jeffrey. Is that everyone, Claire? I can't see anyone, unfortunately. So
yeah, I think so.
Running blind. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of introduce the Farmers to Founders team. We have a few of us here today, so I might hand over firstly to Claire to introduce herself, and then to Peter.
Hi, everybody. I think I've spoken to a few of you before, so that's great. Thanks for coming in. I'm the operations manager here at Farmers to Founders, and deal with the day-to-day organisation as well as some coaching as well. Yeah, my background is in export and marketing, and I look forward to hearing more about your businesses.
Claire, Peter.
Thank you, Sky, and nice to meet all of you. My name is Peter, obviously, and I'm one of the team at Farmers to Founders. I joined there about a year and a half ago after a corporate career in food. I spent 20 years working for Mars, and the last 10 of those leading their R&D team in Australia in the food part of their business. But my background is primarily agriculture. I grew up on a farm in Gippsland, Victoria. I studied rural science at University of New England, Jeffrey, so you'd be pleased to hear that. And after working in a plant breeding company and leading their R&D team, I joined the food sector. So a mixed background of food and ag.
Peter, so did I study rural science at UNE. Very
awesome. Good. There you go. So maybe we're in the same year.
Mine was a postgraduate degree.
Might have been. There you go.
Yep. I think I graduated in 2000 or 2001. I
was 10 years ahead of you.
There you go.
Well, we always make connections through these calls, which I love. So my name's Sky. I'm one of the directors of Farmers to Founders. My background, I've spent the last 17 years working in the food industry. So I started my career as a chef and then moved into kind of large corporate food manufacturing, heading up innovation teams and product development and sensory and all of those fun things. And then in 2019, I co-founded another business, which is a startup called Food Futures, and then was brought across into Farmers to Founders. So as you can hear, we've got sort of diverse skills across our team, and unfortunately a couple of our team members aren't here today, but we've got a ag tech expert in residence with Daryl Lyons, and then Dr. Christine Pitt, who's spent the last sort of 30 years working across the agri-food system. As part of this program, which you'll learn, is that we also bring in a range of mentors, experts and professional service providers, depending on what the needs of the business are through so itself. A bit of background about us. I'm not sure if anyone in the room has heard about Farmers to Founders before. So we've been in operation for about 3 years now. And our mission really is about putting producers at the centre of innovation. However, we've kind of broadened our scope in recent months. We relaunched our website, and we've also relaunched all of our program offerings. So in the past, we used to only work with producers. However, now we're working with producers still, but also much broader, different participants across the value chain. So tech developers, research teams, other entrepreneurs, students, etc., who can be now participate as part of our programs. So today we are focusing in on the Harvest program, which is our 5-month accelerator. As you can see, we have a range of programs that support individuals and teams working in the agri-food sector along their entrepreneurial journey. So we have programs at each stage. And the way Farmers to Founders works is that we have some fantastic supporters. So we're supported by 6 of the RDC corporations, research and development corporations, as you can see here. However, we also work with other industries such as horticulture. And so we have a national footprint as a business. Our programs work nationally. And as I said, we cover a lot of those agri-food industries. So I might just hand over to Peter now, who's going to give you some background into how the program works and a bit of a program overview. So I'll hand over to you, Peter. You just let me know when you want me to keep flicking the slides.
No worries. So the program as it is set up is to help those businesses that have got high potential, businesses that are already up and going, and they're making some sales. They've got some traction in the market already, but they're really looking to identify the areas that they need to focus on or make those connections or whatever it is to scale and transform their business outcomes, whether that's growth or whether that's earnings or whether that's through the social impact or environmental impact or whatever impact measures it is that they're looking to deliver. Could you go to the next one, please? The program is broken up into 3 key stages, and I'll talk through those in a bit more detail, but to give you a sense of how it works, the first stage will be a deep dive. We have a panel of industry experts who will help you review your business. There'll be some online business health checks as well as a precursor to that. And through that program, we'll start to get a sense of where are the key areas within your organization or within your business that focus is going to really deliver a big outcome. Stage 2 is diving into a number of the different critical business areas that we believe are the ones that, with focus and with development, are those that really make the difference between highly successful businesses and average businesses that are just ticking along. Throughout the program, there's some coaching sessions, and we've got a number of coaches that will work directly with the teams that are in the program, and the coaching sessions are spread out across the entire program. And through those one-on-one coaching sessions, you get a chance to dive deeper into the content that you've just learned about, or to reflect on things that are not making sense, or just to be able to talk about your business in a more one-on-one way and start to get a real, a real sense of how your game plan is going to shape up. And then in stage 3, it's probably worth saying that all the businesses that go into it, we're looking to take 8 to 10 businesses into the program up front. All of those businesses will go through stage 1 and stage 2. Then there will be a pitching and a selection process for businesses to go through into stage 3. We'll take 6 businesses through into stage 3, which stage 3 is more of an executional phase where you get a chance to dive into those areas in real time and see the results that come from application of your learnings. So if we head over to the next one, Sky. So here's a breakdown of how the program looks. And if we start on the left, at the bottom on the schedule, you can see the numbers 1, 2, 3 across to 30. They're the weeks of the program. The dates of the week commencing under those. Stage 1, you can see there's a block of 2 weeks where we have an online training program, and we move into the deep dive, which is the block of 2 weeks after that, which will be one deep dive somewhere across that 2 weeks, followed up by a coaching session to help you really digest what has come out of that deep dive. We've got Christmas in the middle. We have a break of 3 weeks over Christmas. Not a lot gets done over here, we've found in past programs, so we make sure we give a generous break. There'll be quite a bit of content to reflect on between stage 1 and the time you come back to stage 2 as well. So stage 2 kicks off with a check-in with your coach, and then we get into some intensive workshops which go into a lot more detail. And as I mentioned, we've got that selection process between stage 2 and stage 3, which are those blocks in yellow. The third stage is really where we get into action, and we do that through a cycle of sprints, which are those grey semicircles there that span the 2 weeks. And what happens in that cycle is that there will be a masterclass that delivers some detailed content based on the needs that we identify through stages 1 and 2. There'll be a sprint to allow you to work on that with other members of the program, with other teams. and also a check-in with your coach through that cycle. So that happens through 5 times, just with the content being shaped up based on what we learn about the businesses and their particular needs through stages 1 and 2. We've got a couple of breaks in there. We plan to take the teams travel dependent and where the country is up to based on COVID to Evoke Ag. That's in the week of the 14th of March. And what we've done in the past there is give the teams a chance to showcase exactly what they're all about to a broader agricultural audience, and also to practice pitching.
She's not allowed there. Put her out there.
Sorry, Anne. And that's all right, no worries. And then you can see that in the week 24, we've got another break week there. It's in the school holidays period. We find that that's a bit of a disruptive time, but it also gives everyone a chance just to take a breath and check in on everything that's been learnt through the program. Week 28, there's a purple dot there to practice for graduation, and week 29 is when we graduate, and that may culminate in demo day, but certainly a graduation for the teams to celebrate their achievements through the program. Next one, Sky. So this is more just showing what we've spoken about in that last slide in a different way, and I probably won't go through it in too much detail. I don't think we need to. I think I've probably covered most of it, Sky. So.
Yep, cool. Thanks, Peter. Were there any, just to pause there, were there any questions from anyone about sort of the program, how it works?
Yeah, so most of these sessions are online or in person, you know, because you mentioned some of them are in person, right? So we need to, yeah, so where will be it's happening, like in which area?
So we've got the chance or the ability to conduct all of this online if we have to. We've done that in previous programs and it's worked really well for us. But in an ideal world, we would love to get teams together. And we've got a range of different locations that we can do that in. And that depends a bit on how the cohort is made up and where it makes sense logistically. But Sky, maybe if you go back a couple of slides, just one more. Yeah, just here. So if you look at sort of weeks 11 and 12, you can see in there that's part of the intensive program delivery. And in an ideal world, we would love to deliver that face to face. So if there's an opportunity for us to do that, that's what we would plan to do.
Okay, so that's a 4 days program, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It's yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, it really depends on whether, like, if it's virtual versus if it's face-to-face, the timing can be different. So obviously when we're face-to-face, we do consecutive days in a row at a location. If it's virtual, we might spread it over a longer period of time. For example, could be, you know, one day over 4 weeks, 1 day over 2 weeks, whatever, or two, and if that makes sense. It just really depends on COVID. But also another thing is that we you know, we provide travel stipends for face-to-face contact. So we cover those costs in terms up to a limit, obviously, for accommodation and flights. But also with Evoke Ag, we Farmers to Founders in the past, when we have quite a presence at Evoke Ag, so that can be a really great opportunity for the teams in our cohort to be there networking. We would be doing things at Evoke Ag that you could participate in, and we've done like sort of a demo day with a curated audience that you could essentially pitch to, or whatever that looks like. So we're working on that in the background, and so when things evolve and we know a little bit more about the participants, as Peter said, it's a national program, so we have to kind of, you know, people come from all over Australia. So it's just that logistics around that. But yeah, we definitely want to get face-to-face time.
Got it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. I'll just quickly flick through these. So I just wanted to kind of cover off around who should apply. So in all of our cohorts, in all of our programs, we essentially have kind of two streams. So definitely an ag tech stream. So businesses who have technology that solves a problem on farm and generally for the broader industry in which they're working on. And some of that could be cross-sectoral. We also work with value-added food and beverage businesses. And when I say value-added food, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a food product. It definitely can be, but it could also be where you're converting a raw material into a premium value product. So just thinking of Anne, who's in the room today. So definitely skincare, nutraceuticals, all of those sorts of things are things that we're interested in. And it's around that. So I just wanted to kind of give you some examples of who have been through so the Harvest used to be called the boot camp program. So it's evolved. So as I said before, we take both technology businesses and also value-added businesses. And so this, in the past, that they could only be producer-led, it's now opened up. And I'll explain that in a little bit. But basically, as you can see here, these are all the businesses that we have helped scale over the last 2 years. So everything from, hardware like Ozcrimper and Optiway, software platforms like Yakka, and Nobi, very specific technology for the wine industry. Farm Simple and Farm Service Manager are both software platforms in terms of they were from the broadacre farming. Value-added products for lamb, camel milk that was turned into skincare products. So yeah, quite a broad range of different businesses that we work with, and it's really around some things that we kind of look for. And so and I think Peter touched on it before, is so what we look for in terms of your application and the business itself is that you've actually progressed. You've got a real business, it's set up, you've developed that business, and you've got kind of products or services in the market, and it's at least that working MVP stage. You've got evidence of demand, so that could be revenue, sales, or you've got kind of clear customer trials in place, or you can show us or prove to us of that work that's going to happen. You're aware of the skills and capabilities that are needed and have started to build your team. We're really wanting to, particularly, we used to, it wouldn't matter if you were a sole founder. However, if you are a sole founder, we would definitely want to be working closely with you in terms of building your team, because we've learned that it's quite difficult to continue to grow your business if you are a sole founder. You understand your revenue model, so you can show to us your kind of path to profitability, and you're really at that stage that you might have been working in your regional area, but now you're really at that stage to kind of acquire new customers nationally and even internationally through new channels. And then the final and probably the most important one is around the founders or individuals themselves. So we really want to work with passionate people that are, trying to drive change and build, impact businesses and all of those sorts of things. And you're really looking for that support to grow your business. Any questions in the chat or any questions on any of that?
Yeah, one question. So regarding the second point, the evidence of demand, So what's happening with us is we started our service in India, and like there we got very good sales. So now we thought, it's a time to expand in Australia as well. So when we talk about the demand, sales and all, will it consider the other than Australia market as well?
Yes, we would. Yeah, we would. Yeah. Are you based in Australia?
Yeah, so I'm in Sydney. Actually, I live in.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. So any evidence of traction or demand, whether it's in Australia or outside of, we definitely want to hear about that. Yeah, and that would be eligible in terms of us thinking about that. And obviously, it's just the application within the Australian market.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Cool.
Sky.
Yes.
I've had from Jobs for New South Wales an MVP grant.
Okay, great.
That was last year. And of course, obviously, COVID's been disrupting things a lot. But I just wanted to tell you that. So I think I'm a bit past that stage of getting to it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, so I mean that the point there is at least working MVP. So like that would be kind of the base level of what we would accept, right through to more businesses that have product in the market. They might have been around for a few years, whatever the case is. Like we would assess the application on a case by case basis. But really, this is, I guess, the key here is it's not at that early stage, that early idea stage. It's really you've got kind of a real business that you're working on.
Oh, very definitely.
Well, that's great, Jeffrey. Thanks. So just a couple of, and then I'm keen to kind of throw to the room to answer other questions. So just some of the things that you will learn through the program. So definitely around, and maybe Peter, I might jump to you around, like there's these kind of 5 core pillars, but some essential skills that you will learn is around investment and raising capital. So some of you might be in that stage and looking to raise capital. So we definitely help with your pitch and that strategy around that, your go-to-market strategy, an understanding of your value chain, your whole value chain, and actually how you scale that up. We will have a focus on, as I said before, expanding your team, identifying, the key capabilities that you need in your team to scale your business, business model design, marketing, branding, and sales, business structure and financial management, in some cases, IP strategy, and then definitely leadership and governance. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that, Peter?
I don't actually. I think you've covered it. Just ticking off all the boxes as you went. So I think that's a pretty good summary.
Cool. And I guess some of the benefits on why apply is that, as we've said before, you get very tailored support. So it's not, a one size fits all. There's different types of businesses in our programs. And so you get that one-to-one business coach support. They're for specific industries. You'll be eligible for up to $10,000 worth of funding to support your game plan. We're offering interim advisory board services as a way to think about your team and potentially trial that type of structure. You'll get access to our broad network of mentors, experts, and we also negotiate different things with trusted service providers, which can be an option for grant funding. For example, as I said before, you will have participation in big events like a VOCAG, which obviously raises your profile as a business, strategy and pitch coaching. And then also, which is, I guess, critical, is kind of once you've established your game plan, it's those connections to strategic customers and different channel partners, depending on your business. So just to talk through some key dates. So applications are open. They will close on the 8th of October. So we've got a few weeks to go, which is all good. So nothing to stress over yet. We will go through a selection process for a few weeks. We do bring in our RDC partners at that point as well, because they like to read the applications that are relevant to their industries. We will generally go through a shortlisting process, and then it's likely that we would set up one-to-one interviews with those teams who have made it to the shortlist, so that any additional questions that we want to ask, and also it gives our broader team a chance to meet the founder. And as I said before, that one of the number one things that we look for is those passionate founders, and that there is an alignment between our business and your business, that we've got those kind of values and all of those sorts of things. Finalists will be announced on the 29th of October. And then as the program launches on the 8th of November, but as Peter said, that's sort of the first phase. You'll go through onboarding and then be doing some online stuff. Any questions on any of that? And then I've got just some frequently asked questions, which I can cover off, but also to kind of prompt you guys on any questions you might have. So I'll just quickly go to those.
Hi.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Sky. Thanks, Peter and Sky. Just a question about the the format. I haven't had a look at the actual application process itself. Can you just give me just a thumbnail of what you're expecting in terms of the type and the format of information in the application process? Or I'm guessing maybe you're about to explain that.
Yeah, so the application form can be accessed on the Harvest page on our website. It's a simple form to fill out. There's a range of questions. They generally span from, we want to hear about you as a founder, if you've got people on your team. There is a question around, particularly if you're not a producer-led business, so you're not a farmer yourself. So maybe in your case, Phil, we will ask for, that. So we always want to keep producers involved. So it's how are you engaging with producers? And so the producer role can be quite varied. Could be, a strategic customer in your case, Phil. It could be an advisory board. It could be a co-founder. So the producer can play lots of different roles. Could be a value chain partner for the value add teams, for example. So there's questions around that. There will be questions around sort of your vision and goals for the business. We will ask sort of just to get an understanding of where you're up to in terms of the stage of your business. Are you prototype? Are you in the market? That sort of thing. We don't want you to share any trade secrets or anything that you're not comfortable to share, but we will ask for kind of your revenue range, those sorts of questions. So yeah, it is quite simple to move through. And then obviously around time commitment. So as you can see, the program, there's group sessions and one-to-one sessions. The one-to-one sessions are very flexible. The group sessions are likely to be set at a certain day, at a certain time. I think, Peter, what the sort of hours of those group sessions? You're on mute.
Sorry. Which one, Sky?
Just in general, like in, say, phase 2, what's the kind of time commitment in terms of contact hours, just as a broad range, the workshops?
Yeah, so the workshops range. There's 2 levels of workshops. In some areas where we need to go a little bit deeper, the workshops might go from 10 until 3. There's 2 of those. And then in the for other workshops, generally it's 90 minutes. So there's a mixture there. There's a couple of 10 till 3 ones, and there's 4 workshops that are about 90 minutes each.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. Does that answer your question, Phil?
Yeah, yes, it does. Thank you so much. And one final question.
Sure.
Is there a file upload option in the application process for supporting information?
There is, yeah. Yeah, so there's, supporting documents, and also if any of you have a pitch deck, we would love to see it as well. It's not, I can't think of the right word, sorry, my brain's gone. If you don't have it, don't stress, but it's the option's there.
Thank you for all that. That's answered all my questions. That's great. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Phil. So I think I kind of covered off that question around, do I need to be a producer? If you are a producer, great. If you're not, that's okay. We will definitely accept you. We just want to see what your relationship is or with producers. And as I said, producers can play different roles in your business, from a strategic customer to actually even being on your team. Jeffrey, you came off mute. Did you have a question you wanted to ask? Well, you're all good.
I was going to, but I think you might cover it in the next couple.
Cool. So how does it work? So Peter gave a really good summary on kind of how the whole program works. It's about 5 months. There's breaks in between for holidays and such. It ends in around May next year, kicks off in November this year. Time commitment, as I said, there's those varying time commitment. Definitely in sort of phase 2 is those intensives. So they're the kind of longer workshops, whether they're going to be face-to-face or virtual. Then a combination of kind of 90-minute group sessions and then flexible one-to-one. And then obviously this program's not to take you out of your business. This program is specifically to work on your business. So hopefully it's supporting you to do that. So it doesn't feel like this is just additional stuff that you need to be doing on top. It should be very aligned to where you want to build your business for the next 12 months. I kind of covered off what will I learn. I've covered off kind of what do I get. How much does it cost? It's free to participate. There is no program fee. We don't take equity in your business. Who owns the IP? You do. Obviously, any IP generated before and during the program is yours. And then travel funds, depending on if we can do face-to-face, fingers crossed, we definitely provide travel stipends to the team to be able to do that. So we're going to go now. I'll stop sharing my screen so I can see you all. Any questions? Did that prompt any other questions that you might have?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions.
Sure.
Just with regards to your plans for the future, how about if you don't have any specific preconceived ideas about how big you want to grow your business? The reason I ask is because we're still in a growth phase in our business where demand for our products exceeds supply. So at this stage, we're in a situation where we're, still building up our production side of things. And yeah, we haven't really got any preconceived ideas of how big we actually want to get, in the future. So would that prejudice us applying for this sort of program?
I don't know, Peter, I thought you were going to go off mute. Did you want to answer that question?
I was just going to say, one of the online modules that we go through right up front does help businesses start to establish what their vision and goals might be. And as you're working through your scale up and you're building up your production, you sort of got to have some rough idea, even if it's not concrete, on where you want to get to, so you know that you're investing in the right level of capital, if that makes sense, and enabling production systems and all of that. So we would be looking for you to have some sort of rough idea, even if it's not refined, but some sort of an idea of how big roughly you want to get. As I said, it's part of the program to help really refine exactly what those goals are and then build in all of the support mechanisms to allow you to achieve that. So if it's not concrete, it doesn't matter. But it's good for us to get an idea if you wanted to be, let's say, you're not worried about making a profit, but you want to have a big social impact. Those things are good to know and for us to be clear on what the social impact is. Or if you want to do both, or if your business wants to, let's say you want to be $100 million business or a $1 million business, or those orders of magnitude really help rather than being absolutely specific, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. Well, I mean, we have got a business plan in place. So, we have done work on visions and goals and all that sort of thing already. So it's not as airy-fairy as I've made it sound. But, I was just curious, if you don't have it set in your mind that you want to become a multinational business or anything like that, whether that's a problem.
No, it's not a problem. And, but it's good to be clear. We are looking for businesses with high potential. And when we talk about potential, obviously, we're not just talking about sales and profit. We are talking about impact as well. We consider that. What's the contribution that you might make? And it's not one or the other that will be sort of influencing our selection too much, but just a combination of those things. But it's good for you to have some sort of, to be able to articulate where you are now and where you would like to get to ideally.
Yeah, no, that's all right. We're very much about a combination of impacts, like particularly social and environmental impacts with our business. So that that all sounds fine. That wouldn't be a problem for us. My other question as well is, in your slides, you sort of refer to an idea or a product. How about if you've got a whole range of products that you're working on? Would you need to choose one of them to champion as part of this process, or could you work on a range of products?
Yeah, so maybe, sorry, that was probably like confusing on my end. So I guess it was like a baseline in terms of who should apply. So, at the earliest, so in our previous like boot camp program, which is similar to the Harvest, is that we accepted people kind of at different stages, but they all kind of were working on the same thing. So like an earlier stage had some traction in the market, was making some sales with one product, right through to businesses that are more advanced with a whole portfolio of products. So both works, and it's just, as I said, it's really dependent on other things as well. That's just one aspect that we would look at.
Okay, no, that's good. No problems at all.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.